So, I never thought I would have to talk about contracts, but as social media seem to be asking a lot of questions within esports, and people stating things like, player X can't leave a team due to a contract, this guy can't do Y due to contract, etc, 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 I decided to make this video. So, what is a contract really? Well, a contract is, all in all, just a piece of paper with ink on it. That's all it is. What a contract do, on the other hand, is giving the parts a possibility to take the other side to court over a breach within this written agreement on this piece of paper. What does that really mean overall? Well, let me put it very simple. If I sign a contract with my friend, and in this contract it states the following: I have to call him cooler than me, and then after signing this contract I go around saying that I'm cooler than him, then I'm technically breaching the contract. Of course this is in much smaller scale, but still, then I have breached the contract. What happens to me when I breach this contract? Well, nothing, because I know for a fact that he is my friend and he would not take me to court. He would not bother himself spending thousands on thousands of euros and time taking a case like this to court. So overall, that does absolutely nothing, which is an important point to make. People think that because you have some kind of contract, everything will be fine and no one will be able to breach it because, you know, they signed a contract. So, in esports, there are people that sign contracts all over the place. But on the other hand, we know that most people are not willing to take someone to court over contracts within esports because it's not as big of a deal. That sounds kind of wrong to say, because it is a big deal to breach a contract. But say that I sign a contract with a team. I sign a 1-year contract, and then I decide to leave the team after 1 month. Unless that it's a rich team with a lot of money, they're not going to bother themselves spending time, effort, and money on winning a court case. I mean, most teams do not have that money just laying around just like, okay, this player is a fucking douche, I'm going to sue the fuck out of him. Because even if they win the case and I have to continue working there for the rest of the year, it's like, well, I'm going to be a demoralized player. I'm going to be performing worse than originally I would have. So, contracts within esports is a really weird topic, because people, as I mentioned, seem to think that just because you sign a contract, nothing can really go wrong. So, I think the contracts are just more like a safety measure to actually help the players out more than it actually helps the team out. I mean, if the player actually gets a contract that benefits him, he wouldn't bother, or he or she wouldn't bother actually leaving or breaching the contract. But yeah, just remember that, guys. Whenever you sign a contract and you feel like, well, I'm locked down right now, but I can't leave due to the contract, of course I will not say that people should try to breach contracts, but if you feel like you got a terrible deal out of it and you don't want to do this anymore, the probability of people within esports actually being able to take you to court over something like that, pretty slim, okay? So, if you're fucked, just remember that. And that it works like that in real life as well. In Norway we have this kind of event where people do all kind of crazy shit, okay? It's hard to explain. But what me and some friends were doing is that we bought a van to drive around and then celebrate and partying within. And upon doing so, we were 7 people doing so, and people were like, well, should we create a contract upon this? And I were just saying like, oh, well, okay, it's not that much money that we're throwing out each person area, and if someone decides to leave the last second and like forcing the rest of us to pay his share, that's honestly, I wouldn't bother taking someone to court. And I mean, if I am the one who like, okay, you know what, I'm not in on this, and I just leave, the probability of those 7 people, or those 6 remaining people, being like, well, he's a fucking douche, let's sue him, and then they take me to court, that's not gonna happen. So, like, Just remember that a contract is not something that really binds you down. All it does is create a possibility for the opposing party to take you or someone else to court. And that's all it is. Contract does not mean anything without a court case to back it up. I do hope that this weird rant explains something to all of you guys on how contracts really work and how it's not really as deadlocking as some people seem to think. But of course, if you are in the real life and you sign an important contract, I would advise you not to breach it. Breaching contracts does not usually lead to something great. So remember that, and as always, I love you all. Take care.